Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm GhostPrime. And I apologize ahead of time for the audio. The audio in the intro and outro will be different than the audio and the actual review since my mic took shit on me. So, I take a look at Armada Optimus Prime. He is an upgraded version of the figure that came out in the early 2000s, or 2002, 2003. And I think they did a pretty good job. I do have the original, and I'll be comparing them together in this review. So please sit back, relax, hit that thumbs up button, ring the bell for notifications, remember to subscribe, and without any further ado, let's get to the review. And let's look at the box. It has no right to be as big as it is. It doesn't need all the space. They say it's plastic-free packaging for the environment, but they don't seem to care about the trees because this thing's massive. I'll show you in a minute what really the figure comes in. But this has gorgeous artwork on the front. It's really nice, very dynamic pose of Optimus Prime. The Legacy Evolution badge there. There's Armada Universe Optimus Prime. Transformers. You have the Legacy artwork on the side. And on the back, we have all the different things it could do. You got the Matrix, truck mode, super robot mode, full-on truck and trailer. It's got the base mode, which is okay. The original one did it, so sure, why not? On this side, this is pretty cool artwork, transforming into the truck. And on top, we'll have the QR code there, which you could look at this, and the truck there. Overall, it's a nice big box, but it's much bigger than it needs to be. Because looking inside the box, this is what the figure comes in right here. These are entirely empty. This box could be this big. So it's kind of a waste. And it's even a waste of space if you keep boxes. Now, I keep Optimus Prime boxes. And this is massive. So it's going to take up a lot of space. I just don't know where I'm going to put it right now. I have to do another box purge. But yeah, it's huge unnecessarily. Of course, there is an instruction booklet in it. It has that's kind of a weird pose there. Nice clear instructions. There's a couple things that these instructions actually don't include, which I'll get to in the review. All right, getting everything out of the package, it kind of comes packaged like this. You get the trailer, this piece here, the kind of a gun in place, but you get his guns with his two guns on the side, and then you get the bot. It is done in vehicle mode. There is some assembly required of this. These do come off here. This is their Evo Fusion gimmick, which is, it's okay. It's all right. But let's take a look at his blaster close up there. A lot of nice detailing, 5mm ports on there. There's the barrel. It is blast effect compatible. So you can do that. And sure, it's cool. Let's bring in the original one real quick, which is much larger. It has some translucent bits to it. And it has this whole thing that I never used on it, but for the base mode. But yeah, so it's not bad, not too shabby. It does look like this gun. I mean, the color's off, but I don't mind it black. And then you have this piece here, which does unfold. This actually is the hitch piece for the trailer. It kind of goes like this, and that's how it attaches on the inside. And you can attach the gun here, and you can actually put this in the trailer like this if you want to. So here is one of the little guns that goes on the side that are also the smokestacks. These get placed in the 5mm ports on the side of his arms, right there. And there is the truck. And so what I mean by some transforming and assembly you need to do here, this is how it comes. You have these pieces that if you know this trailer already, these pieces are out. So what you need to do is take them and move them out. They're on this double hinge piece here, like that. And then just kind of tabs on the side right there. This piece kind of hangs. I wish there was another peg for it. It's not that much of an issue, though. And then take the other one, same as first. Move that around. So now we have this. And you see in there is a peg hole where this goes in. And once you unfold that like that, there's also tabs that slide into here. So you kind of want to get that in there. And I'm going to take out this gun. it gets in the way. It's not an official place to put it, but it works there. So you just slide that in like that. We gotta make sure those tabs are in place. And then there's tabs on the bottom here. You tap those in on either side. They should be lined up. And then these pieces here come down, and you have the trailer. One other thing about the trailer is it does have stands. So we pull these out from the back here, and you can stand it up by itself. Cool little feature, because the old one stood up by itself without stands, but that's fantastic. This can go on the top, mount just right there, and there's the fifth wheel. Go ahead and put these up, put them together, and you have Prime with his trailer, and it rolls really well, despite this actually having little wheels, these being non-moving treads like the original. One thing you could do is put it back. So his turning radius isn't. Oh, I have the wheels upside down there. The turning radius isn't the best, but it's better than the original. It definitely works out really well, and I think the proportions are really good. It's not too bulky. It looks decent. Actually, it looks really good. I am happy with the way this looks. So for comparison, start out with the truck. I am missing one of these on my Armada Prime on the stacks. So you can see the size difference. It is quite a bit different as far as size is concerned. And I don't mind that, actually. But you can see some of the differences in the way the front end has been designed. I don't know why they didn't paint these. They just have them on the side there. It's not that big of a deal. I think it looks good either way. Get it up close. One thing is that this is a button and that's a tampograph on it, or this is actually molded in. Color-wise, it doesn't have the lights painted on the top. It would have been a nice thing to have them, but again, not something I worry about too much. You have translucent windows, which I'm a fan of. I don't mind translucent windows. Actually, it doesn't really show too much in there. But it does have a long back. Now, if you look, the back end is super long. It's actually the same length as this one. It is very long. It looks okay under the trailer because you don't really see it that much, but it is long. The hands sticking out here do bother some people, but we seem to forget these are just on the back end of it. It's one of the things I never liked about this, honestly. It's got pinned wheels all the way around with the hubs painted. So yeah, I think they do a good job of it. I think it looks pretty good. Pretty good indeed, you know? And here they are together with the trailers on there. So a lot of things actually really, really work with this. Bring this a little forward so I can see some of the details. So you have the silver bits, you have the Autobot logo, same sort of design here. This has a little bit of a lighter blue, more of a powdery blue, or this is a kind of more vivid blue, or the darker vivid blue, navy, not quite navy. It's a weird color in between bright and navy blue. This is a different shade of blue, but I mean, the details there, like even those two little lines are there. It's got a lot of the same details, and I dig that. I think that's very cool. I think it definitely invokes this a lot, which is really, really fantastic. Really cool. Even this little piece here and this, and I think they did this better. I like the way that looks better than this sticking out here. I really, really do. Pretty good job. Definite applause on this vehicle mode. Now, I do like the Autobot logo here, how it's an embossed Autobot logo, and this is just flat with the white background. I think this would have been really popped with that white background. Wish they would have done that. Maybe cost constraints with the paint. Now, if you look on the back they definitely just sort of throw some of the things on the back here. That's where this has this big motor, essentially, because this is motorized. This has no electronics whatsoever, but you know, that's cool. The electronics of this never really worked for me. I thought it was a cool idea at the time, but in practice, it's not super great. It was neat. It was a neat feature to transform this and have this unfold. But it's unnecessary and made a bad super robot. And this one actually fixes that. Here's the cab with Bendy Prime, you get an idea of just how many iterations of this thing there are. It is larger than this one and more posable. And lastly, for a modern figure, there it is with Red Sunstreaker. Now, I will say one of the things this thing does lack is a minicon. I would love to have seen him come with Sparkplug, or I think it was Sparkplug was his name. I don't remember. But the minicon that he came with, I would love to have seen that minicon. But unfortunately, these don't come with minicons. I think that's a misstep. Maybe we'll get a pack of them later. Who knows? There's also not a lot of ports on it for minicons. All right, now we're going to get kind of close up at the cab. Kind of get an idea of these details here. Yeah, looks pretty good. So on to transformation. Move them down to get to the underside here. You want to take the wheels off first, and they are pegged in right there. Put that around, kind of friction that on. So pegged friction on. Take the legs, go ahead and split them. Take these pieces, open those. Come back down here. If these get opened up, you're going to just squeeze that back. Take these panels, move out the toes. The transformation is a lot like the previous versions of him. It's not super different. You have the front end here, which actually we need to move these first. Like that, so it opens that up. Then that opens like so, revealing the head. Kind of close that and snap it together. Arms come out. Then these pieces here, down, down, exactly like the previous versions of it. Move the arms around at the elbows. And we have robot mode. And getting close to that head sculpt. This is a killer head sculpt. It has that stoutness of the way the Armada Prime looks in the cartoon. It's really well done. It's a beautiful head sculpt. They knocked it out of the park with this head sculpt, which I'm really glad about because, man, some head sculpts recently have not been great. Looking at you, Studio Series. But look at that. They're pretty good. And then you got the silver with some gold accents and black all the way down. No paint on the thighs, but you have paint there. And turn it around. This, you go ahead and open that if you want. Those are flaps for the movement of the legs. Very cool. Very, very cool. And for a quick comparison, there he is with the Bendy Prime. And here he is with the original. So he's almost the size of the original in robot mode. And let's get these guys kind of closer up to the camera here. So just kind of look over them. You can see the head sculpt there. Now, the gimmicks wise, this one does have more gimmicks. Armada was known for his gimmicks, so you can have him talk. But you open this up, there it does show a matrix. So if I get it to stand up, you open this up, there's also a matrix, very similar, but this one can come off. And it's actually molded in a translucent plastic and painted gold. And I like that you could take that out. This I thought was pretty cool, but you couldn't take it out. And so that being able to be a functional matrix is neat. So I turn them on the side there, kind of see how they look together, the front and back. So they're very, very similar, as you can tell. They're very similar. I mean, this is kind of an upgraded version of this. I mean, if you take out the electronics, this one actually is more, I would say it's more playable than this one. It's more posable. It feels solid. Actually, they both feel solid. Weight-wise, this one's definitely heavier. All the electronics and stuff are in it, so that makes sense. So for articulation, he's pretty well articulated. Definitely has all the modern articulations, with the exception of the waist. His head is on a ball joint, 360, a little bit down, a little bit up, inquisitive look. This far for the shoulders. If you want to move that a little bit, gives you a little bit more. The elbows definitely have a pretty good range on them. He does have 360 degrees at the elbow, and at the bicep, and he does have wrist swivel. Now he doesn't have, like I said, doesn't have any waist turn because of transformation, but he has a slight ab crunch, if you really want to call it that. Maybe you can even get that more if you lift up the chest a little. You kind of get him to crunch a little bit. It works for articulation if that's what you want to do. It is kind of cheating a little, but it works. Legs out to there, maybe a little further if you move it like that. 360, ratchet it up, move the butt flap back, ratchet it back, ratcheted knees 90 degrees, and ankle pivots. So, also, I might have mentioned that. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good, actually. Really, really enjoy it. So I dig the chunky look of this guy. Let's bring in the trailer to do the transformation on the trailer into the base mode. So here we have the trailer, and so this does turn into a base mode of sorts. It's pretty simple to do, and it's really just flattening it out. So first things you're going to want to do is separate these pieces here from these tabs here. Oh, that's in there tight. And then just kind of untab the side pieces there. There we go. Oh, that can come off, whatever. Legs do spread apart. I do like to think tabs is super solid, which is what's given me the problems. So the instructions do say to have these pieces here be in. So that's what we're going to do. And move that out. This piece can come up. This piece can come up as well. I find this easier for him to actually stand. This piece comes out. Go ahead and turn that around if you want. Flatten that out. These pieces come down. Legs out. So there's a tab right there and a tab right there. This will tab together just like that. Go ahead and put these pieces back where they belong. And, well, almost done. Take this, did it like that, plug that in there, and that's his base. And really what you can also do is you could put his gun right there because it has two pegs where you could actually add a little bit there. And I think these are Blast Effect compatible. So that is the base mode. And Prime could sort of stand on it. Not super well. There we go, got him. Not super well. That'll fall. But not as good as the original. But then again, who's going to keep this thing in this mode? I'm sure as hell not. Are you? I mean, it's not really it's sort of a throwaway mode. Most of these things really are. So from this, I'm going to take out the gun here. This doesn't need to be taken off, but just so it doesn't fall off during transformation into the pants mode. I'm just going to go ahead and take that off and set it aside. It makes it easier for me. And move that down. We're going to untab these, which do it themselves. So before we get to this side piece here, we're going to need to take this piece back out. Take this piece back out, and the reason for that is there's these little turrets here. Pull those up and out and put it back in, and then there's a tab there, or a tab there, and a slot there. Slot that in. And once you have that done, you pull this panel down, and there's a slot there, or a tab there and a slot here. Move this back, and the toe comes out. And that is one of the legs. We do the same thing here. Now you have two legs. This, however, is backwards. So you take this whole piece, kind of move that out of the way, spin that all the way around. This gets spun around also. If I can get it, there we go. This gets spun around also. Sorry, you guys couldn't see that. I was off camera a bit, so that's spun around like that. So the treads are facing down, so you want it to go like that. These pieces here fold up. Then make sure the cod piece is down, and this little red piece right here folded forward. Go ahead and put these are be hip flaps. We stand them up, lift up the camera, and go ahead, lift that up and go ahead and set that aside. All right, now we bring in the Prime robot here, the smaller Prime robot. You can make a larger one. And to get him into his torso mode, what we're going to want to do is go ahead and move these up first. Take his arms and push them forward, up and around. That. Make the legs. Actually, let's move this first. Take the legs, spread them apart. It's okay if it does that with the arms. The arms are actually going to come around and tab in. Not really tab, sorry, but slot. Sort of slot into there, right? That empty space, right? Easy. Turn them around. Then we take shoulder, move that down. Other shoulder, move that down. Gets that out of the way. The head is, almost dropped it. The head is in there. Gotta move that out, and it frictions in place in between. There's actually two little tabs. You can get it kind of in there, and it's solid. It's not going to fall down. So then we take the arms here, and you can see there's a tab and a slot. Go ahead, just move that down like that. Just slot this in like so. Leave this like this. Take these on his head, move them out. So as looks like he has wind, like his hair's all windswept. Go ahead and move the shoulders down, twist, move this out of the way so you can get your finger in there. Collapse the toe, expose the hand, lock it in place with that. Same on this side so you can see better. That, twist, open that, like that. And close that, move the toe in, flip it around, and locks in place. And there we have the torso mode. So from the torso mode, what we do is, these all have to stay tabbed. They come untabbed a lot. Not that big of an issue, but so we have this here piece here, and we have these pieces here, and this back slides directly, I get to work, into there, and then this top piece tabs right there and holds this whole top piece together. So you have something like this. And then you take this whole piece in and snap it together. Right, just put that up. And there you have him in his super form. You can move the butt flap back a little bit, get him some posing in there. Now, one of the things is we have this. You could set this off to the side. You'll have this little butt flap. Or, like the instructions say, you could connect it. And it's basically, you just have it still connected like this. This is why I say you could do it with this thing actually being like staying on. You don't have to take it off to transform it, but move it around like that. And that's how it's supposed to go. So he has this pretty big backpack, but he holds it well. And get it all in frame here. And so he looks pretty good in full on super robot form. Really, really nice looking Prime. I like what they did here. The backpack's not terrible. You can't see it from the front. I don't necessarily mind it too much. I think it's pretty good. And look, get in here. That head sculpt looks pretty good. All the detailing on it. I like the bright gold used, metallic gold, like metallic gold. Originally, it was yellow on the Japanese version, so the gold is really welcome. But I think it's kind of a nice bridge of the gap between the two different designs. Articulation-wise, head is on a ball joint, all the way around, a little up and down, all the way around the ratcheted shoulders, ratchet there, ratchets at the elbow. His fingers do open. Now, he doesn't have this thing being appearing and disappearing into the fist. I wish they had that mechanism on this. I think that would have been a lot better for the hands. Small complaint, but it is unsightly to have that there, I think. He does have a wrist swivel as well. No waist swivel. And just move his arm out of the way. His leg comes out to there. He does have 360 at the thigh, 90 at the knee, and he does have the ankle pivot. But he does, I can kind of see it. Can't really stand up super well because he's really top heavy on a smooth surface. It does get kind of a pain in the ass to stand him up on a smooth surface. That is kind of annoying, but it is something to look out for. His gun can fit here, and he does have minicon ports, or not minicon ports, but 5mm ports. I wish they were minicon ports. 5mm ports here, and of course his hands, and some little ones down here, which I think could work as ports, and some in the back. Maybe that's just design. Speaking of design, let's see how he compares to the original. Bringing in the original Armada Prime. You see, he is a fair bit smaller, but he's articulated, and I guess heft. He's still a little like lighter than this guy, because this guy has a lot of parts on it. But I've never liked these legs. I mean, it's cool, kind of like for a gimmick, but I've never liked the legs. These are better. This is a real missile. These are both fake. They don't fire. But if you look at the side, this is kind of interesting, I think, at least. He's bulky up top, and he's bulky in the bottom, and light up top. Otherwise, though, I think they did a great job invoking the figure. The original design, I think it's pretty darn cool. Let's bring Bindi Prime in just because. Get an idea. He's definitely pretty big. And here he is next to another commander class, Jetfire, so you get an idea of the difference in size. This is the biggest commander class we have gotten, but I think weight-wise, he actually feels heavier without having a scale. So you do get a very chunky, robust figure with this. Now, one thing I do want to point out, and I love this feature, is if you move this down, you see on the back here, the way this whole piece is shaped, actually, and this slot, that actually has a use. It's not in the instructions. If you happen to have Armada Overlord, you have a slot that looks like this on him. And when he's transformed into his over-the-shoulder gun mode. Now that actually snaps into place right in there. And you could have the guns on the shoulder of Prime, which makes him very top heavy. I did get him able to stand up with it freely, but you have to pose him. He will not stand up like this. He just falls backwards. But that's, I mean, it's okay because he's only there for a play feature, but it fits perfectly. Like, it was absolutely designed for this. The smokestacks in there fit perfectly to that groove. I mean, everything was designed for this. I love the fact that it was backwards compatible with an earlier figure, something they didn't have to do, and it's really, really, really cool. I dig it. I dig it. It's really, really awesome. That's a little, it's going a little above what they really needed to do. Pretty cool. Anyway, now for some final thoughts. So this guy gets a strong recommend from me. He is great. He's chunky. He's posable. He has backwards compatibility. That's awesome. I do wish he came with a minicon, and I do wish he had a few minicon ports just to extend that backwards compatibility portion of it, because I think this is pretty good. There's not really much I hate about him. Hopefully he could fix his hips there. The turn of a screw shouldn't be too much of a problem. I think this is good, and I think this is where Transformers needs to be. There's been a few of them recently where Transformers needs to have a high standard of quality, and I think this is one of those. This is a good commander class. As far as price goes, the original one, I believe, I don't remember, I remember it being $50, and if that's true, then this being $90 actually kind of worked with inflation, even without the electronic gimmicks, which I don't think is needed, because we have robots in, right? But no, this thing is pretty cool, and I think it's a definite improvement over the original. So anyway, I appreciate you staying to the end and listen to my review. Or if you skipped around, cool, whatever. I just appreciate you being here. So please come back for the next one. It'll be pretty soon, and I'll see you then.